Let me ask you a question. Please raise your hand if you think that you're not good enough for your job. So I'm happy to see that at least most of you feel confident that they have the requirements that meet their job so they can actually perform their job well. But now listen to the next question and ask yourself, am I able to get the most out of myself, to unleash my inner potential on a day-to-day basis? Or is there, every once in a while, something that holds me back and cages my inner talents? In my talk today, I would like to help and inspire those that find it difficult to translate potential into performance. And don't worry, I was one of them. I have a background in professional soccer and even played several matches representing the national youth team. However, at the age of 21, I came to the painful conclusion that I wasn't able to translate my potential into performance, that I wasn't able to make the final step in my development from talent to talent on the pitch. And in this talk, I hope to help you with my journey to inspire you to overcome this problem, because the solution is very easy. In order to try and get to this solution, we took a scientific approach in trying to identify where does talent come from and how do people reach their full potential. And by doing so, we researched over 80,000 professionals worldwide in a scientific study over many different universities. Because in the meantime, after I decided that soccer wasn't my full end goal, I tried to overcome this pain with a career in science, trying to answer exactly those questions related to where does the gap from performance and potential come from, and how could it be that so many people leave their talents hidden. In this study, we had an extreme and very inspirational result. But before I go to the main conclusion of the study, I would like to bring you to two side conclusions to get the whole talk into perspective. So the first thing we found was that skill set is important. So you actually have to have the skills required for your job to be successful. And independent research actually replicated these findings, showing that around 36% of the individual difference between performance of professional is related to skill set. And 36% might seem like a lot, but now think about it from the individual point of view. It means that only 1 in 3 people selected for a job is going to be successful, and the other 2 are going to need to find another job relatively soon. And now think about this for yourself. If you think about your biggest achievements, were they the result of skill, or in contrast, were your biggest achievements the results of your dedication, your drive, your inner passion, and your ability to overcome your fear, to get out of your comfort zone? So this brings us to our second finding, which actually was interesting because we didn't expect it. It seemed that if professionals have no clear idea on where they are going and what is expected of them, they tend to spend their energy on the wrong activities. We call this role ambiguity. If you have no clear goal, it is very difficult to actually reach it. So we found that a priori defining clear goals significantly boosts professional performance. So to summarize, it's important to know where you're going, and it's important to be able to get there. But now still, in the model we had a big gap because there's still so much talent that remains unused. So the final and third conclusion of the study was the biggest one. We found that for professional empowerment, it's not sufficient to know what to do or how to do it, but it's very important that you develop the mindset to actually get things done. Now that's a big word, mindset. Where does your mindset come from? And in this journey to try and find that out, we found answers all the way ranging from people thinking that we are determined by the genetic material that we get from our father and mother, or on the other end of the spectrum, that we are the full product of the environment we live in. And until now, researchers have been unable to either get all this information into one comprehensive model that helps us actually understand human behavior a little bit better. But help is on their way, because with the rising fields of neuroeconomics, we are now able to see that we as humans are an emergent biological organism, which basically means that everything we do is the consequence of neural, biological and chemical signals in the brain which help us think, do and act. And until now, the brain has been the domain of the medical field. But with the help of Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman and the rise of the field of neuroscience and genetics, we are now able to use the power of how the brain functions into our economic models when we talk about talent development. Because traditionally, economists basically think that humans are utility maximizing and rational actors. However, we all know that this is not true. We have all these feelings and intuitions and other subconscious processes that shape our everyday behavior and decision making. These processes are automatic, they are relatively fast, and they happen under a big emotional bias. Star of the show is the limbic system, which actually helps us feel. Our emotional processing in the limbic system helps us make quick decisions, manage our emotions and motivational drives, and is therefore by some called the inner why. However, even though staying true to your inner why helps you understand and unleash your talents, it's every now and then it's helpful to take a step back and use something like thinking and rational thinking to find out if what you started is actually worth pursuing and if the route you took is going to be successful. And for this, we have another part of the brain, which is the cortex. We use the cortex to think and take that step back. And the cortex is the part of the brain that distinguishes us from a lot of other animals on this planet, because it helps us to think rationally, plan into the future, and make conscious decisions. It is therefore that some people have come to call this part of the brain the CEO of the brain. Now, many scholars and management gurus will try to convince you to favor one system over the other, but I'm here today to tell you that you can harness the power of both and create a network that is bigger than the individual nodes by themselves. If you are able to manage your limbic system to think, to feel, and use your cortex system to think, you will have the key to unleashing your inner talents in your own mind. So how does this work? It's very important that you start out by identifying which automatic behaviors, which actually originate from the limbic system, align with your strategic goals and ambitions. And as long as that's the case, you should recruit your limbic system and use the endless energy and drive that's available to help you get there. However, you and your cortex should be willing to take control every now and then in order to make sure that your limbic system doesn't spin out of it, that it doesn't make too emotional decisions, and that it doesn't make choices that later on you would say those wouldn't be the best in hindsight. This seems like a simple model, balancing these two neural networks. However, it's complicated, and it's complicated for two main reasons. First, for your cortex to think and take control over your limbic system, it needs a neural highway that needs to be strong enough and used. And building this highway takes time, and using it takes energy. So this is the reason why making rational decisions about the future tends to become easier with age, and it doesn't make too much sense to ask children or young adults to actually think about their future too much and make big life-determining decisions early on in their life. That network is just not strong enough yet. It is also the reason why when tired or when emotional, you tend to fall back into the limbic system and in your automatic behavior. However, there's a more profound second reason why it's difficult to take control over your limbic system. And this is the following. Your limbic system creates an alibi every time that you will try to step out of the comfort zone of your automatic behavior. And this alibi is the little voice inside your head that tells you that you can't, that you shouldn't, or that you're not worth it, or that something is inappropriate, or that you don't know how to do it, even though you practiced a lot. And if you are able to shut down this voice, you actually are able to uncage your inner potential. Knowing now, if I knew back then when I was still playing soccer, what I knew now, I would have focused more on my inner strength from my limbic system and let my cortex deal with the weaknesses that come with them. Because I now understand that they're just two sides of the same coin. Knowing it now, I try to silence this inner voice, which actually tries to make me anxious or scared when I need to step on a big stage like this. So remember, if you want to take control over your life, it's not all about skill set, but it's about knowing where to go and managing your brain to come along with you. Good luck on that journey.